Hello everyone, and welcome. We had looked forward to meeting all of you in person, but given the circumstances, that could not happen. On behalf of H2Whoa, I would like to extend well wishes to everyone as I hope that you are all safe. Today, H2Whoa is here to present our proposal for an educational stormwater management video game. H2Whoa is a team of 5 University of Toronto civil engineering students. My name is Melanie, and I am our creative lead. With me this day is our team lead Arteza, marketing lead Leticia, risk assessment lead Kazia, and business lead Kamaran. We will be covering the problem at hand, our proposed innovation, who our target audience is, the project work plan, and the risks associated with our solution. Climate change is a pressing issue, creating new challenges that must be met, such as weather conditions that our infrastructure is not built to handle. Consequently, Canada has lost billions of dollars in damage, with the largest annual loss being $5.3 billion in 2016. Our conveyance systems can no longer handle the quantities of stormwater, and rapid urbanization has caused more runoff. This has created flooding, sewage discharge into bodies of water, erosion, and decreased water quality. Studies have shown that for every dollar invested in flood mitigation, $6 are saved in future disaster costs. However, stormwater management systems are often government-run, meaning citywide flood mitigation efforts are governed by public incentive. Consequently, if and when there is a lack of awareness, a hesitance to increase budgets, and passive rather than proactive action, the risk of floods increases. This can result in another flood like the one in downtown Toronto in August 2018 and will continue to occur to the detriment of its citizens. Now Arteza will be discussing the proposed innovation regarding our educational video game.
Our solution is to facilitate environmental activism in youth through one of the most widely used mediums for entertainment, video games. By educating youth on stormwater management through a video game, our intention is that society will become more aware, proactive, and resilient against future stormwater disasters. The proposed video game will be a combination of flood modeling software such as PC Swim 2012 and a kid-friendly video game such as Age of Empires. The result is a video game that educates youth while keeping them interested in the topic of stormwater management. We're calling this game Stormwater City. And to convey how this game works, we have created a short demo outlining the game's core mechanics.
Hi everyone, so here's our demo for Stormwater City. Let's jump right in. We're immediately greeted with a UI representing a neighborhood. So on the left side here, you can see our flood risk, which is immediately affected by both the amount of flows in your sewers, but also the amount of and the depth of rainfall. Here it's 18 millimeters, which is quite high, which is why our combined sewer in Block A is quite polluted and quite high. Now, note how this is a combined sewer right here, and Block B has 2 storm sewers. That's an upgrade which we can achieve later. As you can see, Block B is a lot more developed and clearly well more maintained. So that's just a reference point for the player. Right now we're in Block A, and we should ask Catherine for some advice. So she says, "Hi there, Anthony, Sabrina, and Dr. Katrina. Thanks to your engineering skills, our neighborhood is safe and resilient. You've attracted the public's interest in Block A, and we are willing to invest in residential homes in this block. $1 million will be added to your budget should you proceed." Mayor Catherine. So we'll take her advice. We come here at infrastructure, and we go down to residential buildings. This is where we want to add our infrastructure. Okay, we click residential buildings, and we see it's adding a new building to your neighborhood that residents can call home. Great. You gain happier residents and a happier mayor, plus $1 million. But you have a 2% increase in runoff, 4% increase in flood risk, and $400,000 cost for every building you add. So it's a substantial loss, and we'll see that right now. Take a look over here. Let's add this and take a look over here. We have our flood risk, which is kind of high, and we have a combined sewer, which is kind of high. But as soon as we add a piece of infrastructure, suddenly the flood risk increases a lot, and the combined sewer increases a lot. Now we can look at the details a little bit better. Note that this entire game will be running on actual hydrologic simulations. This includes the Manning's equation, the isochronal method, the rational method, and the pollutant removal equation. So say a student is curious, what exactly is a design flow? Well, one of the functions we're adding to our game is that they can right click on anything they want to and learn about it. Here we're going to right click on design flow, and it'll actually give us information about what design flow is. So we'll exit out of here, and we want to mitigate this high amount of flow. And we also want to reduce some of this pollution because it's combined sewer. So what exactly do we do? Well, let's try some bioswales. We're going to add a bioswale right here, and I'm getting all this information, but I don't necessarily know what a bioswale is. Let's right-click bioswale and see exactly what a bioswale is. Okay, so our resident over here tells us that's a type of green infrastructure that aids in evapotranspiration, infiltration, and filtration, as well as detention of stormwater runoff. And they're made up of small rocks during vegetation. Okay, this looks very interesting. We provided a little cross-section diagram. So with this information, the student can now learn more about infrastructure while implementing it in a real environment, well, a simulated environment with real mechanics. So let's exit out of here, and actually though, we're going to add a bioswale and take note about the flood risk and the combined sewer. We're going to add it, let's say, over here. And suddenly, not only does our flood risk decrease, but our flows decrease as well as the pollution amount. And essentially, that's what the game's about.
Now this demo only displays our initial intents of the game. It is subject to change over time, and this will allow for updates in complexity or simplicity. And as a result, we'll be able to achieve the highest degree of clarity in stormwater management education. It must be made clear that what we are doing is in no way directly mitigating floods. Our objective is to empower youth to become hydrologists, civil engineers, or even fluvial geomorphologists with the intent of preserving the welfare of their environment. Now, Kumaran will be taking it away with target audience.
Now that you have an understanding of the proposed innovation, you might be wondering who this innovation is for. As Ertas has discussed, our proposed innovation is a stormwater management simulation game. Before brainstorming ideas for the design, our purpose for the innovation was to serve as an educational tool to provide people with the necessary understanding of stormwater management. When deciding what age demographic to target, we had to consider various factors such as the level of education and accessibility. What we finally decided on was which age demographic could this educational tool have the highest influence and impact on. That's why we decided to target students, as they will be able to use this knowledge on stormwater management to make smarter decisions in their future. Studies have also shown that children are worrying about the environment more than ever due to the ongoing issue of climate change. A study done by Smart Energy Great Britain on children ages 8 to 16 showed that 77% of young people worry about climate change at least once a month. Once we decided that we wanted to focus on students, we had to narrow it down to a specific age demographic. By going through the Ontario curriculum of education, we were able to learn that the level of understanding students were at grade by grade in terms of science, technology, and the environment. We had initially planned on going with students from grades 5 to 8, but after further consulting with their mentors, we had decided to go with grades 8 to 10 due to the limited understanding middle schoolers have on the subject. We do understand that there are possibilities of the game not reaching our ideal target audience. In the case of this happening, we decided on a secondary target audience, which are post-secondary students and researchers in the civil and environmental engineering fields. We feel this game will help in giving a visual representation of stormwater management design and help with their education in this field. I will now be passing it over to Letitia, who will be discussing the marketing strategy for this game and how the target audience will be reached.
The team will conduct further research in order to prove to potential clients that the video game fulfills its purpose. Firstly, the team will get in contact with a school in Toronto in order to conduct the experiment. A class of grade 8 will be divided into two groups. Group A will learn about the topic through a traditional method, while Group B will learn it via the game. After a couple of days, the students will have a quiz in order to test their knowledge based on what have they learned. From this data, we'll be able to determine if the game is a better option to teach kids about flood and rainwater. We will use it to present the project to Toronto District School Board so that the game will be part of the Ontario educational system. As an alternative, H2Whoa will present the product to educational publishers so that they could incorporate the game into their student resources. In order to make the game accurate and to provide the necessary information, the team will consult with professionals such as hydrologists and stormwater management engineers, and also with the district school boards in order to meet the requirements to make the game part of the educational system. We can't forget that we also need the feedback from the students that play the game, as they are the ones who will be using it and learning from it. After talking to specialists, the team determined that the final cost of this project will be on average of $195,000. The main components of this cost are the development of the game with professionals working in it, software security, and the maintenance of it.
Now knowing the game objectives, how it works, and its young audience, it's important now to consider all risk factors involved in the development of the game. We've broken our risk into 3 comprehensive parts, namely challenges with solution, challenges with the location of implementation, and challenges with the proposed target market. In challenges with the solution, scope takes key importance. In its beginning stages, the game has been greatly simplified to avoid any potential risks that often come from unrealistic scope. Funding will come from crowdsourcing, community outreach, and angel investors, while the game ensures accessibility by following in-game experience standards such as font type and button design. Moving on, as the game is based online, primarily reaching Ontario students, both these markets are heavily saturated. The unique focus of the game and our marketing plan modeled for it guarantees that H2Whoa is given the best chance of success. On a human level, though, there are concerns of player engagement and education provider involvement. Many environmental, educational test cases struggle with the balance of educational value, implementation, and player enjoyment. The benefit of this project is that it is specifically designed for integration in the existing Ontario curriculum. In terms of student enjoyment, strategy games are prevalent in the teen gaming market, proving their success in performing to teen satisfaction. The goal for this video game is to act as a bridge between technical learning and student engagement, combining academic viability with student exposure to environmental water management solutions.
Our solution targets young students who have a voice for change and will take initiative to implement green infrastructure in the future. Our game is intended not only to educate students, but empower them to make real changes to real problems in our environment. A mutual understanding is necessary between residents and the government to ensure that green infrastructure implementation is on a large enough scale to move towards a green city that can mimic pre-urban conditions. We hope that there will be more academically empowered youth to fight against climate inaction and pursue real, tangible change. Thank you for listening to our presentation.